James Harris, number 12, can do most of the things a quarterback is supposed to do, and he's done them well enough to enable the Los Angeles Rams to grab a spot in the playoffs. However, with the Rams' wealth of experienced talent and given their easy schedule, George Plimpton could have just as easily quarterbacked them to the division title. Harris is an accurate long-distance thrower, but his play calling is very predictable. Fortunately, the Rams have so many elusive receivers that Harris could announce his plays on the public address system and they would still work. Like Harris, Dan Pastorini, number 7 of the Houston Oilers, is a devastating long ball thrower, but his critics say he lacks the patience to develop a consistent offensive drive. With a game-breaking receiver like 00 Ken Burrow on his team, Pastorini can be excused for his impatience. Cincinnati's John Reeves, number 11, is another young signal caller eager to display his skills. Last Sunday, he replaced the injured Ken Anderson and passed for 2 touchdowns and paced the Bengals to a convincing win. Both Reeves and Pastorini are young and just learning what they can do. But Ken Stabler of the Oakland Raiders is a mature quarterback in command of his craft. After a disappointing start this season, Stabler has steadily regained the form which earned him the league's Most Valuable Player award in 1974. Against the Atlanta Falcons, Oakland's usually stingy defense gave up 34 points. But it didn't matter because the Raiders' flamboyant passing attack produced enough points to win 37-34 in overtime. Quarterback Len Dawson's trademark is consistency, not flamboyance. For 19 years, he has quietly, steadily gone about his business as one of football's most dependable passers. Now, at age 40, he throws few long passes and keeps his favorite targets within 20 yards of the scrimmage line. Dawson is a traditional drop-back quarterback who believes his place is in the passing pocket, and he rarely ventures far from his offensive linemen. Last Sunday, the Baltimore Colts laid siege to Kansas City's protective wall and trapped Dawson for repeated losses. The Colts lead the NFL in quarterback sacks, and quick rush men like John Dutton, number 78, are one reason why today's most successful quarterbacks are those who use their legs as well as their arms. Perhaps the most well-known proponent of this new mobile style of quarterbacking is Terry Bradshaw of the world champion Pittsburgh Steelers. Bradshaw is nimble enough to avoid the rush and actually prefers to throw on the run. Last Sunday, while leading his team to a 20-7 conquest of the New York Jets, Bradshaw not only passed for 2 touchdowns, but this 27-yard scramble was the longest running play of the game. Although the mobile or running quarterback seems like a rather recent trend in pro football, it actually began in 1960 when a small preacher's son from Georgia named Francis Asbury Tarkenton signed on to pass and scramble for the Minnesota Vikings. Ironically, Tarkenton's first pro coach was Norm Van Brocklin, a man who had come as close to immobility as a quarterback as is possible without growing roots. Van Brocklin scoffed at Tarkenton's early scrambles, but today Francis can look back and laugh at the legion of critics who claimed his scrambling tactics were self-defeating and he was not a strong passer.
I didn't have an arm that could throw the ball 100 yards. I scrambled, which was a terrible thing for a quarterback to do. How could you not stay in the pocket all the time? Because that's the way a quarterback was supposed to be. And all these things were hard for a lot of people to adjust to. Writers, sportscasters, coaches, so forth. And they couldn't see how this freak could come and play. And so I've somehow defied some of those criticisms and odds, and now people are finally saying that, well, maybe we were wrong.
Although many old-timers might not be able to stomach it, Fran Tarkenton is on the verge of proving that he is the greatest professional quarterback who ever drew back an arm. He has already completed more passes than any player in history. By the end of this season, he will break every meaningful record available to a passer. Tarkenton has spent nearly half his career with losing teams, and he hasn't always benefited from brilliant receivers. He can throw long and short and medium. He's a leader, and he doesn't panic. The fact is, whether you like a scrambler or not, and whether or not you like a guy who throws a lot to his backs, and whether you don't accept a guy who has never won the big one, Fran Tarkenton is going to become the all-time, lifetime career passer, and the critics can just shut up. In addition to his passing records, Tarkenton is the only man who has averaged 6 yards or better per rushing attempt for more than 500 carries. And that puts Francis ahead of Jim Brown, ahead of Gale Sayers, ahead of everybody.
Most quarterbacks that play today are mobile quarterbacks. The Staubachs, the Bradshaws, the Greaseys are all people who can run with the football, who can scramble, who can buy time to get more time to pass. And these are the guys that are the most successful in our game now. I think the time that a guy can go back 7 yards in the pocket and not move out is gone. And I think it's a hindrance to, let's say, Joe Namath, because he's got bad knees. He cannot move. But he does not get the advantage of being able to roll out, use a lot of play-pass action, or get out of trouble, and he has to sit back in the pocket. It's a tremendous handicap to him.
Only a few years ago, the passing records that Tarkenton is closing in on seemed like the future property of another man. But this season, Joe Namath leads the NFL only in throwing interceptions. His arm is still sound. It's his knees that are all but gone. Before each game, they are strapped so tightly in metal braces that they cut down his mobility. Said Steeler tackle Dwight White, number 78, "You know where he's going to be all the time. He's handicapped." Namath has suggested that he might retire at the end of this season. He has already retreated from the glitter of Manhattan's nightlife and rents a house in a quiet neighborhood of Garden City, a Long Island suburb. "I've only been to New York City once in the past 8 weeks. The traffic's too bad," says Namath. It couldn't be any rougher than the Sunday traffic on the field.